I did a total maintenance on the huge canister filter in this tank and the hang on back. But as you can see, there is a lot of floating particles in the water. And I think that's simply a function of the tank is getting overstocked and I need to increase my filtration. Now, some of these are air bubbles for sure, and I know it might be hard to differentiate, but there is a lot of floating debris in the water. And I basically came to the conclusion that I'm not getting the amount of water exchanges I need, and thus I need to improve my filtration. So the canister filter on this tank is this one is older, so it's going to be Arena XP4, but I think now they call it the API, I don't know, XL something, XP4, I don't know. So this thing is rated for 240 gallons, I believe. And so, you know, I basically have maybe double the filtration. I definitely have double the filtration when you account for the Fluval C4 hang-on back I have there. So I definitely am doing double what I need, but still there's a lot of floating debris. As you can see from this tank, I have a lot of Pseudotropheus demasoni, and there's a few, maybe 10 or 15 Tropheus in there. And if I show you this breeding trap, there's another, I don't know, 20 or 30 Pseudotropheus demasoni in there. So needless to say that they're reproducing like crazy, and I've actually run into a bit of a good problem in the main tank. So the good problem is that I'm running out of filtration capacity in this tank. As you can see, I've been adding some fry that have graduated from, I guess they're not fry, they'd be juveniles that have graduated from my 30-gallon grow out. And I've been slowly putting them back in here, being careful that they're not small enough to get predated and making sure they're mature enough. But I haven't sold anything yet because I want to make sure that the fish I'm selling have really good genetics and their morphology has a really nice color to it. So I'm not selling anything yet. I need to grow them out and make sure that I'm going to be selling great fish. So I need more filtration to handle the higher bioload of fish. They're all really scared right now because I cleaned the glass and stuff before the video, but so far I've been really impressed with their color. But I just wanted to make sure, because the last thing I want to do is to scam anybody and sell something that isn't really what it's going to be when they take it home. So the solution I found was the Fluval FX6. And a quick backstory, when I decided I needed more filtration, I went to the PetSmart.ca website to see what are the prices on some of their canister filters. And the FX6 was on a ridiculous sale. Typically it's $460 Canadian, and they had it on sale for $305. And I was like, that's a pretty good deal. But on top of that, they had a special promotion for the weekend where if you purchased something online and selected the pickup in store option, they would take an extra 15% off. So I ended up getting this for about 275 Canadian dollars, which is an unbelievable deal. And I'm shocked that I own an FX6 because I never really thought I would do it. I'm typically a guy that buys used aquarium gear off classifieds, and I refurbish it, I make it look pretty, and I've basically have no money invested in things, but this got me. I had to go and do it. So for the rest of the video, I'm going to be showing you how I set this thing up and how I installed it on my fish tank. So this is how I'm setting up the Fluval FX6. So my assumption is that the pump takes the water and sends the water down through a tube, and then the water fills the exterior volume of this, and the water moves up these coarse foams this direction. Then I'll show you the lid after, but the water flow then is directed from the lid down the center. The water moves down the center and then it comes out and actually hits the impeller of the pump and then gets pushed back up, filtered, and out of your fish tank. And that's super important to understand the direction of water flow, because you want to set up your media in the right sequence depending on how the water flows. So for this, the water is going to flow down. So it's super important that you put your medium and fine foams on top so that they interact with the water first, so you knock out all the debris in the water that you do not want clogging up your biomedia. And that's why Fluval for this has that pyramid structure on the top. It increases the surface area. So these are going to be oriented up like this, and they give you 2 of them. So that's how those go in. And then on the bottom, I have the Fluval fine filter pad. They claim this will last for 4 months. So if you spend $8, you get a year's supply. So I actually did, and I'm going to be testing it out. I don't think that it will actually last for 4 months, but who knows? I've never had one of these before. Maybe I'll be surprised. So I'll quickly splice this in. This is the Fluval fine filter pad for the FX series. And right here it says replace every 4 months. So like I said before, I'm really skeptical about that, because this pump moves 925 US gallons per hour, which is a lot of water. And I do not think that these things will last 4 months, because this was $8 for 3 foams. So 3 times 4 is 12. So for $8, you can get a year's supply of fine filtration. So if it actually does what they claim, I think it'll be a great investment. But again, I'm skeptical, and you guys can watch for a video, me giving my evaluation on that. So once you knock out through your mechanical all the debris in the water, you then have all your bio. So I bought a little bit extra, but for me it's bio, and then I have more bio, and then the bottom course is bio, and then at the very bottom I have that black carbon pad from Fluval. You guys know that I don't use carbon, but I've heard people run into problems where the biomedia or stuff falls through the bottom and can actually destroy the impeller. So I've heard from people that have had these for a while, just to put something thin on the bottom so that pieces don't fall through. And so if you have new biomedia, it's so important that you filter the water properly mechanically, because all the pores in the bio are going to get filled with something. And ideally, you want the biofilm of the nitrifying bacteria to go in and to fill those voids. But if you have really crappy filtration, you can fill this up with detritus, with wastes, and you'll displace bacteria and you won't filter properly. And I can't stress that enough, especially on new biomedia. You need to filter it properly. So that's how I'm going to set my trays up, in this order, based on the flow of water. Hope that all makes sense. So this thing's ready to go. It's not leaking anywhere, and I'm confident that it's set up right, everything's sealed properly. So we're really excited to get it onto the back of the tank now and get it fitted for good here. And so I think I'm gonna have to actually cut this lip to help it seat in better, because it was super hard to get over that thickness there. So I might have to get my Dremel out on the back side here, but now comes for the painful part, getting everything routed to the back and getting it to work properly. So that's the next step. One thing that I have to say I'm really impressed with is Fluval's motor timing and how it has a priming sequence. And I can't believe how easy it is to start and how it automatically pauses to get the air bubbles out. It's such a sweet system, and I fought with some of my E-Heims to get them to prime properly. And on such a big filter with their priming sequence, I was super happy with how everything started up and paused and then just pumped all the air out and started running immediately. It's actually a really well designed system. So this is the final placement for it. I have the intake there on the right and the output there on the left. And as you can see, this thing moves quite a bit of water. It's actually moving all the sand out here in this corner, and it's creating a little bit of a ruckus there. So I haven't adjusted the output nozzles at all yet. This is just the first few hours I've had it running, but it's not leaking and it's in place. And I did, like I said before, had to get my router out, and I had to, or not my router, my Dremel, and cut this lip in the back to get these clips on, because they were unbelievably hard to get on with something that wide. I use my Dremel all the time, I love it. And the actual canister is down below here, and I'm so impressed with how quiet it is. I'm just gonna pause for a second here. It's amazingly quiet. It's too dark. It's quite tall, so the hose has to actually dip down to go under the back of the stand I built and back up. But so far it hasn't been an issue for performance. And if I close it up, the only thing you can hear is the water from the C4. So in terms of noise, I'm very impressed. And that's basically where I'm going to end the video today. Once I've had it for a bit, I'll give you guys an update on what I think. But the water is so much clearer already. It's basically sucked all the floating debris out. So the first few hours have been really positive, and I haven't really had anything to complain about. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I sincerely hope you have a good day.